Welcome to UNP Learning Platform. In this session of Microsoft Excel, we are going to understand what is pivot chart and how to create different pivot charts in Microsoft Excel. Before we create a pivot chart, we will know the importance and reason to create it. When you work on large data set and try to present it, the viewers get lost right after the start because the amount of the data set is so big that they cannot understand it properly. In this case, the pivot chart helps a lot to project the data set in a summarized and more definite way. Now, we will understand what is pivot chart. Basically, pivot chart complements the pivot table by visualizing the summary dataset in an easier way. The pivot chart helps us to illustrate comparisons, patterns, and trends. Let us now create a pivot chart for this dataset. Select a cell in the data as we do for pivot table. Go to the Insert tab. There is an option called Pivot Chart. Click on that. We have two options here, pivot chart and pivot table. Since we are creating pivot chart, I will click on the first option. We will get a pop-up same like when we create a pivot table, asking us the range and the place where the charts need to be created. I will click on new worksheet and click OK. A blank pivot table and a pivot chart is created. As you can see here, there are four components for pivot chart. We have also seen that there are four components for pivot table too. In the same way, there are four components for pivot chart. They are axis, values, legend, and filter. Axis is used to locate data points in the chart area. Charts typically have two axes. They are used to measure and categorize data. One axis is a vertical axis, which is also known as y-axis, and another axis is horizontal axis, which is also known as x-axis. Now coming to legend. Legend reflects the data displayed in the graph's y-axis. It is also called graph series. This is the data that comes from the columns of corresponding report. A graph legend generally appears as a box to the right or left of the graph. Coming to the values, values are the area that calculates and counts the data. And last but not the least, the filters component allows you to easily apply filter to the pivot table. This is all about components of pivot chart. Now let us create a pivot chart. Let us take segment in the axis and category in the legend and sales in the values. As you can see here, we have x-axis and y-axis. In the x-axis, we have segment, and in the y-axis, we are having the sum of sales. This is a sample pivot chart and also a pivot table is created. I hope it is clear. This is all about today's lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.